This is Mac OS Ken.
Things are looking up for investors eyeing Apple. A look at Apple's decade plus in AI. And if you oversleep, just blame your iPhone. It is Wednesday, the 1st of May, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by ExpressVPN. Use the internet the way you want to. Subscribe and get an extra 3 months free at expressvpn.com/macosken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. Investors are feeling better about Apple shares these days, though that could all change tomorrow. That seems to be the thinking of JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee. Apple 3.0 ran part of a note he wrote Tuesday, quoting that, "The sentiment has improved despite tough data points as the focus has shifted to owning the potential AI upgrade cycle. However, the upcoming earnings print will still matter for investors in offering insights into the magnitude of these cyclical challenges on account of pressured consumer spending, as well as the headwinds in relation to market share moderation in China." Put another way, investors are feeling better about Apple shares these days, though that could all change tomorrow. That's because tomorrow is when Apple is set to report earnings for last quarter and offer guidance or color or vibes for the current quarter. Based on the latest demand trends, Mr. Chatterjee says he and his are looking for a modest revenue miss for the March quarter and a more significant miss to revenues in the June quarter in relation to sell-side consensus. That said, he thinks March quarter earnings will reinforce to investors that the likelihood of downside is limited to modest declines in revenue on a year-on-year basis for this fiscal year. You know, that doesn't sound nearly as fun as such notes have in the past. But it's not about fun. For Mr. Chatterjee, it is about long-term investment, it seems. He's got an overweight rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $210. So yeah, tomorrow is the thing. Apple reports Q2 FY24 earnings after the bell on Thursday, the 2nd of May. Numbers will hit via press release around 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern. Then at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Apple execs and financial analysts will confab by phone, covering what has been in detail while tussling over what's to come. You can hear the call as it happens on Apple's site. It will be made available as a podcast soon after. And we will hit highs and lows right here on Friday. Expect more teases from Apple on its AI plans on tomorrow's call. Those began in earnest on the last earnings call. We'll talk on Thursday of a secretive Zurich lab dedicated to artificial intelligence seems unlikely. It was all over a Financial Times article on Tuesday. According to that, Apple has poached dozens of artificial intelligence experts from Google and has created a secretive European laboratory in Zurich as the tech giant builds a team to battle rivals in developing new AI models and products. To be clear, most of Apple's AI work is still happening in California and in the Seattle-Washington area, according to the report. Still, secretive Zurich lab is sexy. If you're somebody who thinks Apple has let the AI train pass it by, the Financial Times article might make you rethink that. It's more like Apple is building its own tracks, its own train, and a whole new engine for locomotion, if I can roll with the train analogy a little bit longer. The piece looks at over a decade of hires and acquisitions. For example, the report says Chuck Wooters, an expert in conversational AI and large language models, who joined Apple in December of 2013 and worked on Siri for almost 2 years, said during that time that I was there, one of the pushes that was happening in the Siri group was to move to a neural architecture for speech recognition. Even back then, before large language models took off, They were huge advocates of neural networks. Does that mean whatever Apple teases tomorrow and announces at WWDC and or this fall's iPhone event will be earth-shattering? It does not. But Apple was late to 3G by some accounts before driving adoption of that tech. Apple was late to 4G by some accounts before driving adoption of that tech. There are many times in Apple's past when the company's been like a wizard, neither late nor early, but arriving precisely when it means to. That seems to be where Morgan Stanley analyst Eric Woodring's money is. The Financial Times piece has him predicting that the next iPhone could become much more of a voice-activated, smart personal assistant led by an upgraded Siri that could, for example, interact with all the apps on your phone through voice control. What we'll be looking for at WWDC, says Woodring, are previews of 1 or 2 AI features that can become game changers for the average consumer. New hardware from an Apple subsidiary announced on Tuesday. Mac Rumors wrote up news of the Beats Solo 4 over-ear headphones, while 9to5Mac had word of new Beats Solo Buds. Pluses for the Beats Solo 4 are said to be markedly improved audio, as well as 3 ways to listen: wirelessly via Bluetooth or plugged in via USB-C or a 3.5mm connector. On a full charge, they'll go up to 50 hours wirelessly. Plugged in through USB-C, users can listen and charge simultaneously, or listen battery-free via mini connector. No active noise cancellation on these, but they are over-ear, so passive noise cancellation, let's say. Paired with Apple devices, they do support personalized spatial audio with dynamic head tracking. Thanks to the Apple innards, the headphones support both iOS and Android with one-touch pairing, automatic setup across devices, and support for Apple's Find My and Android's Find My device services. Plus, iOS users can do audio sharing and the "Hey, Apple's virtual assistant" thing. Available in 3 colors: matte black, slate blue, and cloud pink. Beats Solo 4 headphones are up for order now for $199.99 a pair. They will ship, and one assumes land in stores, this Thursday, the 2nd of May. Taking a bit longer to make their way are the new Beats Solo Buds. These also offer passive noise isolation. They've also got similar Apple innards, according to 9to5Mac, enabling one-touch pairing across both iOS and Android, as well as integration with Apple's Find My network and Google's Find My device network. 2 things 9to5Mac found particularly impressive were the battery life and the price. Actually, they call the 18 hours of battery life incredibly impressive, while the price tag of $79.99 makes the Beats Solo Buds the most affordable truly wireless earbuds that Apple or Beats has released to date. There's just one thing. They haven't actually released them yet. Colors on offer when they are on offer will include matte black, storm gray, arctic purple, and transparent red. The Beats Solo Buds will be available in the US sometime in June. Of course, the big hardware news from Apple is whatever they plan to announce at next Tuesday's Let Loose event. iPads are practically a given, as well as some new accessories, according to another piece from 9to5Mac. Perhaps the most interesting thing about the event since its announcement is the promotion around it. Citing the site The Apple Post, 9to5Mac says Apple has been promoting its Let Loose event on social networks such as Instagram and Facebook. The message in the ads says that Apple is drafting up something special for you and invites people to attend a different kind of Apple event on the 7th of May. What is likely to make it different? Personally, I think it's the ungodly hour, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. Sorry, Tim Cook, but we are not all Tim Cook. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it is 7 a.m. and I'm awake, I have not been to bed yet. As a matter of fact, I am proud of those nights, yes. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. I had something weird happen yesterday. I was surfing the web, as I'm wont to do, and came across a site that said my IP address was blocked. Of course, it wasn't my IP address they were seeing. It was ExpressVPN's. So I tried another ExpressVPN location and got through. It was a news site, one for which I have a login. No idea what the deal was with the first one, but I really appreciated the built-in backup that is the huge list of ExpressVPN servers from which to choose. That is also great for content, by which I mean movies and TV. If a service where you are doesn't have access to something you want to see, but it does for another region, ExpressVPN lets you control where you want sites to think you are located. And the speed with ExpressVPN? No lagging, just watching. At least that's the way it's been for me. ExpressVPN has been my VPN for years, and it can be yours with a bit of a bonus. Whether you want to access a literal world of content or just keep the world out of your business, use my link right now, expressvpn.com/macOSKen, and you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's expressvpn.com/macOSKen to learn more. expressvpn.com/macOSKen. The software beta showcase is opened again, and the pace seems to be quickening. Mac Rumors ran a few reports Tuesday saying that developers had been given access to the fourth betas of iOS and iPadOS 17.5, macOS Sonoma 14.5, watchOS 10.5, tvOS 17.5, and visionOS 1.2. I say the pace may be quickening because public testers also got the iOS, iPadOS, and macOS betas. Not sure whether that's the norm now, though feels like a thing that happens as releases draw near. If you want to be in on the public testing action, it is easy to do. Start your cutting-edge journey at beta.apple.com. If you're like me, you're kind of used to sleeping through your alarm. I'm given to understand, though, that is unusual for some. Makes a recent issue with iPhone somewhat problematic. A piece from 9to5Mac says people have been hitting the socials over the last several weeks, saying their alarms are not alarming them awake. I wonder if these people's dogs also ate their homework. I'm kidding. No emails this time. Apple has actually acknowledged this issue to the Wall Street Journal's Joanna Stern. The company said that it is aware of a problem causing some iPhone alarms to not play the expected sound according to 9to5Mac, and that it is working on a fix. Now, if you're looking for a DIY fix, you might try diving into settings. Folks on social media suggest that the Attention Aware feature, the one that lowers the volume of alerts if your phone thinks you're looking at it, it may think you're looking at it and lowering the volume of alerts. To disable attention-aware features, the piece says open the Settings app, tap Face ID and passcode, then toggle off attention-aware features. Or blame your iPhone and wait for Apple to fix it. We'll end the day with stuff as seen or as will be seen on Apple TV+. Coming in midsummer, a buddy action comedy with Damon and Affleck. Yes, that Damon. No, not that Affleck. Cult of Mac says The Instigators, as the film is called, stars Matt Damon and Casey Affleck. In the film, says the piece, Damon plays a father who teams up with an ex-con, played by Affleck, to pull off a robbery of ill-gained earnings of a corrupt politician. As one would expect in a comedy, nothing goes to plan, and the two find themselves engulfed in a whirlwind of chaos, pursued not only by the police, but also backward bureaucrats and vengeful crime bosses. Plenty of time to forget that this is happening, then be reminded. The Instigators goes into theaters on Friday, the 2nd of August. Folks who would rather watch it at home won't have to wait that long. The movie hits Apple TV Plus 1 week later on Friday, the 9th of August. And finally today, premiering today on Apple TV Plus, it is Season 3 of Acapulco. For this season of the bilingual coming-of-age, dealing-with-age comedy, Apple says it's time to reconcile past mistakes and exciting new beginnings. In the present story, older Maximo finds himself returning to a Las Colinas he no longer recognizes, while in 1995, younger Maximo continues his climb up the ladder of success while potentially jeopardizing all the relationships he's worked so hard to build. The first 2 seasons are available in their entirety on Apple TV+. The first 2 episodes of Season 3 of Acapulco are streaming today. macOS Can, brought to you by me and sponsored by ExpressVPN. Use the internet the way you want to. Subscribe and get an extra 3 months free at expressvpn.com/macOScan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOScan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.